Ladies and gentlemen, various professional groups and professionals came on board on mainstream medias and discussed the possibility of Raila Amolo Odinga going to win the AUC seat. All indications were that Raila can only win if he's just lucky. People said very well, the voting, the way it has been happening in Africa previously, it is likely that it's going to the Djibouti guy. But most people doubted this, especially those close to President William Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga. They are the only group of people who discussed and saw that Raila Amolo Odinga is likely to win. In fact, we had even this morning on Saturday, one of the of William Ruto's men saying that they are confident, William Ruto being a serious campaigner, Raila Amolo Odinga is going to win. We don't doubt the fact that William Ruto is a serious campaigner. I don't doubt personally that William Ruto could have put the most required efforts to ensure that Raila Amolo Odinga has won the seat. Indeed, he did his best. But the fact remains that Raila Amolo Odinga lost the seat to the Djibouti guy. Now, on this video here, I want to do an extensive analysis on why on why Raila Amolo Odinga lost the seat. And in particular, I want to do an analysis that you'll never find in any mainstream medias in the country. And before I do so, please, if this is the first time you're watching our videos, kindly make sure that you subscribe, like, and comment, because that is the best support you can always give this channel. For those who always want to support the channel, my number is below here. You can always come through the best way that you can. Now, what are some of these reasons that resulted to Raila Amolo Odinga losing the seat? Number one on my list are the personal factors that Raila Amolo Odinga himself is responsible. What are these factors? One of them, it is greed. Why am I using this tough word against Raila Amolo Odinga? First of all, Raila Amolo Odinga's age, at 80, it is not an age to go and look for a job of that caliber. Where you're going to be Secretariat of Africa, someone who will wake up every morning, have meetings, move across the continent, hold meetings, and someone who should be presiding over all matters that are affecting Africa. Raila Amolo Odinga was not the person because of his age. That age was the age of Raila Amolo Odinga to go back to Rieti Hills, sit down, relax, and enjoy himself, because he has been active in politics for the past 40 years. It was now time for him to sit down and probably project and be a statesperson who will be able to guide other young politicians in one way or the other. But Raila Amolo Odinga decided to go for this seat. I personally say, if he was fair enough, probably could have fronted Kalonzo Musyoka, because Kalonzo Musyoka as well, he qualifies on one or two things. Maybe someone else, if Kalonzo Musyoka does not qualify. But according to the deal between him and and William Ruto, he felt that it was the right candidate to go for that seat. So greed was one of the factors that really made Raila Amolo Odinga lose, because age was really a big factor in the voting blocks, in the voting patterns in this current election. Now, another thing is the issue of language. People say the Djibouti guy speaks so many languages, probably was able to maneuver through in the campaigns, and of course fit fully in the requirements of holding that office. Another thing I want to talk about here are the Kenyan youths. You know, we have to admit that Raila Amolo Odinga is a great beneficiary of the demonstrations that we had back in June 2024. And these demonstrations were based on few things. 1, proper governance. 2, transparency. 3, protection of the Kenyans' interests. Now, the demonstrations happened, and Raila Amolo Odinga took advantage of that kind of an environment and had a handshake with William Ruto that now was very visible to the rest of the country, because we had Raila Amolo Odinga actually through the handshake having his top 4 men who are the leaders in ODM occupying government positions, that is the cabinet. They were given cabinet seats as a result of the Gen Z protest in the country. This did not augur well with the Kenyan youths. They went ahead to hold what you call serious the campaigning of Raila Amolo Odinga. We realized that they even texted, emailed various presidents across the African continent to ask them not to vote for Raila Amolo Odinga. They even went ahead as late as Saturday, Sunday, actually Friday, to campaign Raila Amolo Odinga in various platforms. And therefore, even the African presidents saw this kind of animosity against Raila Amolo Odinga, and they felt like, wait, why are these people decampaigning these people? This person, they could have been knowing him much better than we do. And as a result, I strongly believe that the decampaigning that the youths of Kenya and other African people, other Kenyan citizens who feel that Raila Amolo Odinga did not do the right thing, it determined the voting patterns of the African presidents in this election. So therefore, it was a huge factor as far as Raila's loss is concerned. Now, another thing I want to talk about here are the dynamics that we know in Africa. You know, as we speak today, we have the African leaders who are early to the east, others to the west. Now, these people vote differently. And the numbers that you have at that point is going to matter in the elections. This kind of a factor being pro-east or pro-west is one of the factors that really contributed to the loss of Raila Amolo Odinga. Because after the Madagascar guard withdrawn, the fact remains that there are some leaders who are now left. Where do we go to? And if they saw that this Djibouti guy was taking care of their interest most, they went to his side. So definitely that factor really played there. And the other thing we have to say about is Francophone, Anglophone, SADC, such groups, and I mean the Western, the Northern, the Southern Africa groups had their own interests. And they probably felt Raila Amolo Odinga was not the best person to take care of their interests. So definitely they voted against him. That is one of the huge factors that was there in this kind of an election. And the one that you have to say here, it is William Ruto. William Ruto is one of the huge factors that led to the loss of President William Ruto, of Raila Amolo Odinga. Why am I saying so? At the beginning, before Raila Amolo Odinga declared, even actually after he had declared to vie for that seat, William Ruto was constantly in the air, traveling to this country, from one country to another. Some of them, the latest one, actually, it was Switzerland. Apart from Switzerland, he had gone to US, even given what you call a state visit. Now, in those visits, William Ruto used to give speeches that used, first of all, to portray him as the best African president. And remember, in all those times, Kenyans were still complaining of poor governance. So William Ruto was putting himself as a certain position that is the best African president. And other presidents were like being diminished by speeches that he was making all over. So this moving around, particularly to the Western countries, it didn't augur well with most of the African presidents. And they felt like, no, this is not right. And now William Ruto presenting the same candidate to them, they felt like, okay, so this guy is bringing us this person. So definitely they voted against Raila Amolo Odinga based on who they know William Ruto is. And actually, it also goes back to the fact I gave of being pro-East and pro-West. Because some countries felt like Raila Amolo Odinga and William Ruto are pretending now. The fact remains William Ruto had portrayed already that he is a pro-West person. And actually, another thing that William Ruto did, as we speak today, is the fact that we had him giving a speech in support of Israel. And that was not right. He even gave a speech in support of other countries. And actually, some of these African presidents who are also Arab-speaking or maybe Muslims felt like the people in Palestinians, in Gaza, deserve proper treatment, not the way Israel did it. So the kind of statements that were given by, of course, William Ruto did not augur well some of these presidents. And they felt like, William Ruto is giving us a person who is simply reasoning just like him. So we don't want them both. That was a huge factor. Another thing we want to talk about here is the fact that there are some things that have happened in this country under the watch of President William Ruto, which we have to admit strongly that did not augur well with the African presidents. And the first in the list is abduction that kept on happening in this country. Whenever abductions happened, due to criticizing William Ruto, they gave a different picture to the rest of the continent that William Ruto probably, he is a dictator. It went actually even in a certain function, I think it's in Ghana, where we had Ibrahim Traore giving a speech and said, if democracy is abducting of people when they raise or they criticize your government, then so be it. I don't want it. That was a clear indication that the West African countries were watching closely what was happening in Kenya, and they were seriously castigating. Because Kenyans did not sleep whenever they were abducted. The Kenyans kept on saying this on social media, and I think by that time even the African presidents were watching on what was happening in Kenya. So that kind of a picture that William Ruto was sending, it was bad, and that's what actually led to some African presidents voting against Raila Amolo Odinga. Not just the issues to do with abductions, even the aspect of being abducted, then later on being killed. That was very bad. It now turned things to be much worse, because recently we had few Kenyans who were found dead. Actually, 3 bodies were recovered of friends who were killed. These guys were abducted by the Kenyan people, by the Kenyan government. And eventually realized that after the abduction, these people were found dead. And this was well voiced by Africans and by Kenyans on social media. And as a result, it even voiced their concerns about the election of Raila Amolo Odinga. Now, the African presidents were as well watching, and they said, this is not fair for the Kenyans. Why do we listen to William Ruto, who does not listen to his people? And that one actually played a significant role in ensuring that, of course, William Ruto is voted out. That is my video there and there, and those are my reasons as to me. But as per to me, I feel that strongly led to Raila Amolo Odinga not being voted in the AUC election as, of course, the chairman of African Union Commission. My name is Abel Mokwa. Kindly keep subscribing, following the videos that we do here, because that is the best support you can always give this channel. See you in the next videos.